Hi everybody, Jo here again. Welcome, thank you for joining me today. Now this could be, it's not going to be a quick video, so I'd definitely get the kettle on and get yourself comfortable. And today I want to introduce you to our fabulous new Lavinia clock making kits. And I thought we'd have a go at decorating one of these. Now, again, this is just my take on one way of decorating. Over the next couple of months, we're going to show you lots of different ways of decorating these, but it's nice to just get an idea of what you can do. So in the kit, I've got a kit here. We have, and I'm going to get rid of the plastic because obviously it has a glare on the camera, doesn't it? So we have the MDF clock base, and then we've got the handles here and the mechanism here, and that reminds me I haven't got a battery, so I need to go and get a battery, but don't worry, I won't leave you. And we have got instructions in here that I haven't looked at yet because I'm going to do that live. Talk about giving myself a challenge. Now I only have one of these, so we're going to have a go with this one and see what happens. So I'm going to put those to one side. And the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a piece of Multifarious card here and I'm using white. I'm just going to draw around this to give myself a template. She says, and I'm sure I put a pencil. There we go. And again, being thrifty, I'm putting it right at the edge, look. Now, some people like to have a larger circle. I'm just going to cut this to the size. And we'll live dangerously and see. But again, things like that, that's very much up to you. You know, we all have our own way. I'm going to save that card because I might need that for something else, because I'm a crafter. So I'm just going to cut round this quite speedily, because again, you don't want to see me cutting. So it gives me the opportunity to just check how you are, how are things doing. I hope you're okay. I know a few of you have been in touch and there's various things happening and you're struggling a bit. So as always, for those of you, if you're having a bad day, we're all going to send you a big hug on here. And Bevan, I hope you're feeling better. And, you know, it is nice when we can actually send each other special hugs because we do care. Lovely caring community on here. And I'm just going to pop myself a little bit of this bit out as well. Now, the other thing I'm going to use, while I'm cutting this out, I'm going to pop these down for you to look at. So, we have some fabulous new grey board at Lavinia, and we've got numbers. You will get a full lot. I've used some of these in readiness, and we have some fabulous cogs. Sets 1, 2, could have had them in order, couldn't I? 3 and 4. So I'll pop them there so you can have a little look while I just cut this circle out in the middle in the best way I can. Right. Oh, bingo, look at that. A stroke of luck, wasn't it? So these are Greyboard, absolutely fabulous. I've had such fun with these. Great, lots of things you can do with them. Obviously, you can put gesso on them, paint on them, embossing powders. Oh, I'm going to be putting the polish. So many things. And I love, if in the cogs look, I won't spend too long because we've got a lot to do, but the different shapes and sizes, and these are almost florally. Brilliant. So what I've done ahead of time, and I'll show you with one, let's get an extra cog. What I've done is I have already got the numbers for my clock, and I've decided I'm not going to actually have numbers all the way around. My idea is in between 12 and 3, I'm going to have 2 cogs just to give the idea of where 1 and 2 are. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got these ready, but I will show you how I've done it. And what we'll do, we'll get ourselves a cog. I have to be careful saying that, you know what I'm like. So I'm just going to, and they just push out, look. And what I love is you get these extra little circle bits. Now I've had such fun with them. I mean, you can use them as dots. You could even put those instead of cogs if you wanted on your clock. Right. Okay, where's it gone? Oh, it's there. Pop those down there, because as usual, I've not got a lot of space. I'm using the metallic gilding polish. And all I've done is open my polish, got myself a lovely brush. In fact, I want this one, larger brush. And again, remember, you can paint with this. So I've not primed it at all. I've just gone straight in with my gilding polish, look. Down the sides. And again, we'll turn that round. And it doesn't take long to dry at all. I found I only needed one coat. Now, I've got to be honest, before I would start, I would actually put this on the back of the MDF for the clock, but I'll actually do mine when I've finished, because it was almost what order to do things so that I could show you. And again, if you want, I'm just doing the front because obviously at the end of the day, the back, it's I'm going to glue it down. So that goes back in water. Now, important thing, if you remember, with your gilding polish, before you put it away, give it a night-night spritz, just to stop it drying out. Night-night. Pop the lid on and make sure that the lid is properly on. And then what we're going to do is just pop those to one side. We'll put that over there. And we'll put these over here for later. And we'll let that dry. Check my hands are clean. And what we're going to do now is stamp on our piece of card. And what I want to do is, and this is just for me, I just want to give myself an idea of a straight line. So I'm just lining up. And again, there's lots of different ways of doing this. You can get templates, you can use your protractors. I just want to give myself an idea of a straight line. So if I've got my crosshatch there, I'm sorted. You know me, I have these little almost tricks. Now, I'm going to do a background, and we've done this background before. It's the DTP, Direct to Paper, and for me it's just a lovely background. And I'm coming in with two colours, pumice stone and salvage patina. I want almost a blue patinery wood type sort of feel to this design. Pumice stone is a very light colour, but it's great to just put the depth in to start off with. And the reason I wanted this line is my first one, I want to sort of go straight. Now, you might be able to do it this way. I have to go this way just because it's me. Now, your distress or your oxide are good for this because of the shape. The elements don't work as well, just in my opinion, because of the dragging motion. But whatever ink pad works well for you. So I just want to come straight down and almost get that. There we go, and I'm going to turn it round. Then we'll just come back. And again, I'm making sure I'm going off at the top, so I'm at the edges. And again, I don't want too much with that. It's just starting to build it up. And then in with my salvage patina. And the same thing, I'm going to do the middle one first. Just turn it round. And depending on how much salvage patina you want, depends on how flat you have your ink pad. And then just for good measure, I'm going to bring in some vintage photo. And I'm almost going to have this more round the edge. So I'm only dragging it towards the middle, if that makes sense. And I'm turning that round, and again, just some, let's have a look. And if I wanted some more in the middle, some brown, I could drag. But again, we'll just, I think, I'm happy with that. I can always add a bit more later. And what I will do is just with my smoothie, at this point, look, just whiz round and do a bit of, and I just love this background. And you can alter the colours depending, I mean, your clock, I mean, the beauty of this is you can alter the colours depending on what you've got in your room. what you want. You know, you could do it to match. Now I'm just going to mop up that. So Mr. Inky Binky can do his job. And then what we're going to do next, we're going to add some stamping. I will be flicking some water on this, but if I do that now, I'll have to wait for it to dry or force it with my heat tool. So for me, it's easier to do my stamping. And so I'm just leaning across, get my blocks. The first stamp I'm going to use is the Tock stamp. And I'm going to stamp this in the middle. And I'm going to use VersaFine Clair, the Nocturne, the black. Now I have an idea in mind. I must admit I've sort of drawn it a little bit, the idea on copy paper. And something like this, if you're worried about the design, I know we're only stamping on a piece of card, but you can always just stamp on your copy paper first. Now, do I want it that way or that way? I don't think it matters. I quite like that way. Right, now I might just have to put my head over because I want to get that sort of in the middle-ish there. See if we have. That'll be interesting, won't it? Oh, that's not too bad, look. And again, I wanted the 12 at the top. And then, oh, I've just dropped all my numbers over Eric. So, how professional, sorry, excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves while I just pick. I've just dropped all my little cogs. Sorry, mate. That's what happens when you lie there. All because I've not got much room. So all those little numbers that were on here, look, I've just dropped on the floor. What I was actually looking for was my fabulous cog stamps. And what I want to do is I want to stamp some cogs that look like they're behind this here. And so I've just got myself a little mask here. Now with the cogs, it's which ones? We've got such fabulous, oh, I just love all of these. So let's think, let's put, right, I'll try not to spend too long thinking. But this is the thing, I don't know about you, when I start doing something like this, we've got so much choice. So I'm thinking, let's have this one down here. Now, the idea is I'm thinking of having my mouse. Now, so this one I think is possibly from Tilly and Tango. And I'm going to have, if I just pick up off the floor, this is the trouble with me putting things on the floor. So I'm going to have my numbers here. Then I'm going to have a cog here. So I want to put my mouse as though he's stretching for that cog. I have a plan in mind, honestly. I know it may look like I don't, but I do. But I'm sure you're the same. Sometimes when things finish, when you're actually working through it, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. Or is that just me? So I'm going to give him a good ink. Now, get rid of that for the minute. So my 12's going up there. That's going to be about there. So I want him there. And again, he's a silhouette, so we'll give him a good... That's lovely. And then we need this back. Right, and I'm just going to give him a wipe before I take him off. And then I want him stood on a cog, really. So let me see this one I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking cogs. You get cogs, don't you, in clocks? I love looking at the working in clocks. So this might actually, and again, I'm sorry, my head may just come in, but we just want him. So we stood there, yeah. And again, give that a wipe. And it's important for me, I'm just wiping each one as I put it back. Now I could do with a couple of little ones to go in here, and I've got a couple of favourites. So these Diddy ones, and I'd love to tell you which set they're off, but mine are probably all mixed up. I know there is what cogs 1, 2 and 3, but like I say, put that back and we'll have another couple here. But I just put mine back on any. Let's have this one, I like this. No, where's my favourite? I have favourites, do you? Isn't it funny what we're like? Right, and I'm thinking, have this one here. And just build up. I don't want too many, I just want a nice little grouping. So one more, and then, and again, you can take your time. I'm just conscious of what you could be doing. So we've got one more, and I'm just going to put this one here. I like this one. It's this solid one. It's one of my favourites. Right, we'll get rid of that. Put the number up there. Right, so this is building up nicely. And what I do want is, so have you lost any of these cogs yet? Because I think they're a bit naughty. They do like to hide, or is that just mine? Now, what I'm thinking is, I just want my little bird stamp. So from the bird collection, we've got this lovely little bird. Now, there are lots of things you can do, as I say. There are lots of designs you can use. I mean, the world's your oyster. I mean, we have so many stamps. Now, again, I've just got to put my head over, that will work so well with this. But I wanted to just go on the sort of the steampunk, but more on the cogs and the mice, and just the sort of the workings inside. I mean, again, don't forget we've got numbers, we've got number stamps, so you could use your number stamps if you wanted. Now, what I'm thinking is, I want another. So if I just put this down here, I know that's not number 6, but if it was, then my next one will go there, because I want another mouse standing on there. That's my idea. You can understand why I've actually drawn it, can't you? So pretend that's 6. So that's going to go there. And I'm just going to put, there we go. And again, a silhouette. And I do talk to myself, you know, when I'm at home, when I'm doing this, when I have a plan. I'm going to bring the goggles stamp in. And again, I'm using black. I could have used brown, but the hands on the clock face are black. So I thought my black stamping would match perfectly with that. I'm just going to move this round again. Sorry if my head... I'm so sorry if my head keeps appearing. But you do need to be on top of your work for this. And again, I'm just cleaning every stamp as I finish, just to try and keep my hands clean, because I don't want black marks on here. Now, what I'm hoping is that we've got another fabulous stamp, and if I stamp her right, she can stamp, yeah. So these mice are so cute. I honestly didn't think I would use them as much as I do. And they're definitely inside this clock. Right, so if I just turn it that way, and let's see if I can pop her foot on there and her little hand there. Do mice have hands? Do they have paws? Her paw maybe. But there we go. Oh, that's lovely. So she's just... And I don't want to overdo it. I just want enough that we've got the detail. So the last thing we'll look in this area here. And let's just use these two as a guide here. So if we're going to have those two there, let's have our lovely sitting mouse. So I want a couple of cogs and I want the sitting mouse. So what I'm going to do here is, let me just, I'm looking, I want a specific cog. This one. And what I want to do is stamp this up, but I want to stamp the mouse on top and I want him to be sitting. So what I'm going to do with my Inky Binky, just at the top here, look, is take a little bit of the ink off where I think I'm going to plant his bottom. So I need room, let me have a look, for him to sit here. So let's put that there. So if you look, it's a bit fuzzy at the top. So hopefully that means that when we come to stamp, and it just saves there being two lots of ink. I know it's black on black, but it's just easier then to make him look as though he's actually sat on top there, look. Do you get me? So, and it's just a little, again, just a little tip that, again, for me, I just find that works better. So let me have a look. If we're going to have, again, pretend that says 6. We're going to have that and that there. So I need a little cog there, don't I? So back to my little cog set. And let's have this one sort of here, and then that can go, yeah. So we'll wipe these two and get these put back. I don't want to lose any, do I? So we'll put them there. Right, so I just want something now in this corner. So again, if this is going to be my 12, again, just to give me an idea, and these two are roughly there, I'm going to have my hanging heart. Not easy to say that, is it? So I'm just going to turn this round. So do bear with me. Just to give me a little bit of interest in this corner. I don't want to put another mouse on. I don't want to overcook it with the mice. So if that's straight, just coming from there. So we'll, there we go. Right, take that off. Give that a wipe. Are you still with me? You might want to fast forward this bit. Right, so I'm just going to put my stamps to one side. And I'm going to put the lid on that ink and give this a blot. VersaFine Clair, a slower drying ink. So we'll give it a blot. And what we're going to do is just add a little bit of background stamping. And I've got a couple of stamps for this. And it's textures 1 and 4. And I'm going to come in with my VersaFine Clair, my pine cone. And I'm not going to pop this on my block. I'm just going to do some organic. So no block, just as it was designed, without first and second generation. And if you want a little bit, look, you can add just a little bit. I don't want to overcook it with that, so we'll give that a wipe. And then if I come in with, that was 4, and this is 1, and 1 smaller, look. So if I almost show you here, if I can bring that a bit closer, can you see? So that's more of like a bit of a honeycomb, and that's more almost like cells, a bit like animal print. So again, this is just background. I don't want it to over, and quite often I like to put where I've got, I like to put the two on top of each other. And again, first, second and third, little bit there. And try and keep things so they move, almost your eyes drawn from one to another, that things aren't too separate, they actually move. Yeah, that's enough. We don't want to overdo it. So that's our stamping. So a few things we can do now. We can add a little bit of colour and a little bit more oomph to the background. So what we'll do first, we'll get rid of this now. We'll add a little bit of colour, and for that I'm just going to come in with some ink, and I'm just going to add it to my mat here. And we'll just do some watercolour painting, and we'll just add, so again I've got my Lavinia brush, and I'll do this brown first, and I'm going to keep it all similar sort of tones. And I'm just grabbing myself a bit of kitchen paper to lean on, just in case I've got any ink on my hand. And I'll just whiz this. Again, you would take more time at home. I'm always conscious I don't want to bore you. Come in with the darker colour. And again, you could use pens for this if you wanted. This way I can keep, I want to add some of this blue. So maybe we'll just add some blue here. Maybe around the edge. Just to keep in that tone, we've got the blue, as I say, that sort of blue patina effect. Maybe a bit darker. And then what we will do, we'll bring in this brown, and we'll just add a bit of colour here, just to these cogs. And as I say, it's up to you how much colour you want to add. I just want to add a little, but what I do want to do is add a little bit of the blue here to these goggles. Right, and then we'll just mop that up. And what we'll do is add some water now. And we're going to do some happy clappy for this. And this is just such a fun thing to do. I love doing this in workshops. And all we're going to do, obviously we've used permanent ink here. And I don't mind if this runs a little. I'm happy with that. So water in your hand and just happy clappy. Oh, that was rather a big splodge there. And just clap all the way around. And as I say, such a fun thing to do. But we're also going to introduce, I've got some Brusho here, and this is the light brown, just to add a bit more sort of texture and a bit more interest in the background. Now, don't overdo it. Remember your salt and pepper. And I'm adding just a little bit. I don't want to overcook it. Now, I've got my air puffer if I need to move it. Oh, I like that there. I'm going to leave that. Now, if you see it starting to run, like here, and you don't want it to run, you can mop it up. but I like that actually. Just a tiny bit here. Just want to add, oh, just a tiny. Yeah, not too much. And I'm going to bring in my heat tool, so I do apologise for the noise, just to dry it off. And this is the Ranger Heat It tool. Again, perfect, it's designed to dry things. But just for the purposes of today, I'll give it a bit of a blot as well. And again, when you're drying anything, remember, dry it from the front, but also dry from the back. Oh, look at that. Lovely. And this is why I like to do all my stamping first, because the card may just ripple slightly. And it's a good quality card, so it will take a lot of water. But look at that. Let me just give my area a bit of a clean, because we do like to keep these hands as clean as possible, don't we? But look at that, if I can show you this. Look, we've got all those beautiful textures, and I just think it's lovely. So we can add a little bit more to that now. Just a little bit more detail. We're going to bring in our pastel pencils. Told you we hadn't much room. That's the thing when you start doing something like this, get all your products out. So I'm going to bring the black in to start off with. And I'm just going to add a little bit of dark round here, just to make it look like that cog is definitely behind and the clock is in front. So again, I'll use that and then just come in and smudge that. And then I'm going to come in with my white and just add some little highlights. Again, little bit on my bird. And again, you will take your time doing this. You can add it on the cogs, on our lovely mice look. And give it a smudge under the chin here. Just give a bit of shape. A bit on the cog, or on the glasses. And it makes such a difference. Under the chin there. Bit of shape with his tummy. And like I say, you will spend longer. And then I've also got this lovely bronze pen, and you can add extra detail. So just going around the clock face, look, if I want to just add, if on the cogs I want to add a little bit more. And also on the heart here, look, on the chain, on each of those I can add. And that I think will go lovely with, if you remember, the colour we used was the copper shine, and I think that matches beautifully. So before I start, I do tend to get products out that I think are going to work well together, just going off those colours. And with my fine liner, I just want to add a little bit of movement, sort of where my mice are going to be moving. And then I think just round the edge, I'm going to come in with my darker colour, my ground espresso, and just add a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. Just round the edge, just to frame it a bit more. And again, in the lid. And really, it's just, you can just create the whole design, as I say, on your piece of card. I mean, if you're doing this for a gift for somebody, you could make a card very similar, couldn't you? And actually give the gift of the clock and a card. So I want to add one of our lovely stickers as well. And I'm going to go, oh, say I choose one and then I change my mind. Make time. I like make time. Oh, clockwork fantasy. Oh, I'm going to go clockwork fantasy. Do you know, I always do this. Change my mind. Right, so I'm going to have this in 2. And again, pop it on my scissors. So if I have this straight, I'm going to have clockwork here and fantasy here. And with my fine liner, obviously because I've stamped in black, using my black fine liner, I think it'll just tie the whole lot together. And then last of all, some splats with my Posca. Give that a good shake. And again, if it's not working, give it a pump. And we'll just add a few splats. Now you can tap it if you want. I want bigger splats, so I'm just giving it a good, it's almost a whipping action, a good shake. Right, there we go. And again, we'll mop this up. And I'll just bring that closer to show you. So that design, we're going to stick on our clock here. Now I've got to be honest, this one, because it's wet with the Posca, I have made one already. So hence number 2. But the good thing is, look, I've got another one. When this is dry, I'm going to order another and make another clock. So I'm going to put that to one side. But what I wanted to do is just show you how to actually glue this on. And again, this is dry. I did this yesterday, so it's nice and flat. Now, to glue it on, I'm going to use the Bippity Boppity glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle time. And I'm going to put plenty on, especially round the edges and round the middle there. Now, my suggestion is with this to use your finger and actually make sure that the glue comes right to the edges, look. Because you don't want it popping up on any of those edges. Right, and then I'm going to line this up. And I have got a little bit of wiggle time, but I think that, and again, try and get in the habit of getting, I don't want to put my hands down, just in case I've got ink on here. And give it a good press. Now again, I've got a slight overlap, which is fine. Because all I'm going to do is take my scissors. Now you can use, there are various ways of doing this. You can use a craft knife. I've got to be honest, I'm not good with a craft knife. So I've always said you will find your own way. So trying to do this so I can see and you can see, and I'm just using my scissors from the back and just going round. And then what I'll do is just take a little emery board and give this a nice neat edge all the way around. There we go. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is give it a quick seal before I put my numbers on. Now we have our collage mediums, and it's whether I use matte, crazing or vintage. I think I might go crazing. And crazing just gives a slight crackle. It's not a big crackle, so I'm going to use that. And I've got my lovely Distress Collage Medium. And again, you don't need a lot of this. And I'm just going to go straight across, and this will seal the whole thing. Now, you don't need a lot of this. Just small amount. Now, there is one train of thought that says you don't put your brush in the pot. So if you want to put your collage medium on your mat and then pick it up from there, by all means do. I've got to be honest, I've not found any contamination doing it this way, but that is just one thing to pass on. That is a lovely tip I was given. I'm just looking in the light. So that's lovely, one coat, and this dries very quickly. If I do want to do a second coat, I can. And what I can do is wrap. Your brush will be fine for up to 6 hours, and that's according to Tim of Holtness. So, and he suggests just wrap it in a baby wipe, a moist cloth, and that will be fine for 6 hours. So if I decide I want another layer, and 2 thinner layers are better than 1 thick one to actually coat it, because obviously this is going to go on the wall, so I want it to have a lovely almost varnish and be fixed. So we'll pop that to the side so I can add another coat should I wish. So let's add some numbers. And it dries very quickly. When you're putting paper to paper, it dries almost instantly. So let's see if I've lost any or have I got them all. Right, so, and I'm going to use, I can use either my Bippity Boppity glue or my medium, because the medium is a glue and a glaze. But I'm going to use my Bittity just because of the applicator. So let's, do you know, I've just dropped the 2 on the floor. I'm having one of those days today. Do you do that? These numbers, they're just... Now again, I want him just. And as I say, if you want to use your protractor and actually get, I'm just lining up on my mat, as I say, using the grid on my mat. Do make sure you put your numbers the right way around, won't you? Right, now let me see. Going to add my cogs. And again, I'm just going to decide. So he's there. That one, oh yeah, I can stand on that one there. Again, you'll do this, you'll decide, I like that one there, I like that one there. Thought I'd lost one then, but no, we're okay. Right, I think I'm going to swap that one and that one. Right, stop. Otherwise you'll be here all day, missus. Right, let's glue these on. And what I'll probably do is put my glaze over the whole lot. Now your Bittity Boppity glue is a dries clear glue. The numbers are fabulous, so not only can you use them for your clock, you can use them for set birthdays. Now again, for purposes for speed, I'm just popping these, but you can use your protractor and actually make sure that they are spot. I don't want anybody messaging me saying, oh, you didn't make sure they were absolutely spot in the middle. You can make, if you're making a few clocks, you could make yourself a little guide on a piece of copy paper, and then you know exactly where to put your numbers, almost like a template. I do think I should have one with literally a brew and a piece of cake on, a cheeky biscuit. And then with my clock, it would always say it was time for a brew and a cheeky biscuit, wouldn't it? Right, just going to wipe my fingers. I'm getting rather lots of glue on them. And like I say, you will take your time. Right, we'll just hold that down. I couldn't decide whether to do the numbers black, because obviously with the hands being black, the clock hands. Right, so I just want my mouse to just be holding on to the number 12. Yeah, I'm just going to put my water bottle on there, just while it dries. And again, I'm just putting the glue, look. And like I say, don't worry about it, will dry clear. Just with my finger, I'm just spreading it out a little. How many of you were telling me not to put that on as a 6, but to glue it on as a 9? Did you think I'd not notice? I did hear you, thank you. Right, 2 more. So for those of you that are fast forwarded through this, don't worry, there's only 2 more. Obviously, you will take your time, because at the end of the day, I mean, this is just such a lovely, lovely thing to do. I mean, imagine making one as a gift for a family member. And how often do we not know what to buy somebody? I mean, do they have a favourite stamp? Have you made them a card? You know, when we do that, quite often we make a card and somebody will say, oh, it's my favourite card you've ever sent me. And you could make it into a clock for them. There we go. The one thing to remember, if you're going to add things on here, don't make them too proud. Don't decoupage things too much, because your clock hands have got to go round, or make sure they're further out. Right, beautiful. What I'll do is I'll just show you the clock mechanism, but off camera, when this is finished, I'm going to add another layer of my, might even put the vintage over the top, just so it's got a good protection of varnish. So let me give my hands a good wipe, because I've got lots of glue on here. So in your bag, you have clock pieces, and you have some instructions, so it's really important. So if I just look at this, I've got my end piece, and I'm just going to put them to the side. Let me just make sure you can see this. So if I put them in order that they're on here, and the longer hand is there, the next hand is there, and then we've got this, and then we've got our clock, and then underneath we've got the larger black washer, and then we've got the thin metal washer. So if we keep that here, I'm just going to wipe. Going to take, let's check that'll go through. Do you know what? I'm just going to, my finger's still sticky, just with my scissors, I'm going to make the hole a little bit larger. So if we pop that through and make sure that it's ready for hanging. So obviously I want this at the top. So that's correct. Then I'm going to pop that down so you can see. Can you see? And then it was the remember. I want to check that goes through, which it does. So remember, off our little diagram look, the silver washer or the chrome washer, then the big black. Then it tells you to put your clock. So pop that on. Then we've got this, almost like a nut. So small handle just resting on, then larger handle, and again we'll pop it up at 12. Same with this one. And then our lovely middle, which again, it's just a matter of, it's not easy doing this when you're doing it in front. Right, I'm just going to have to move it to the side. Just because I'm all fingers and thumbs now. There we go. And then once I put the battery in the back, the clock will work. And I'm just going to move that up here. I don't want it over the bird. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another little layer of varnish. And that will be my clock finished. And also the varnish will protect it. So if there's any moisture, if you wanted to put this in, say, your kitchen, I mean, obviously this is going in my craft room, but I do think for me another layer of varnish and possibly some of the gilding on the back. But there are so many things you can add to this. And as I say, so many of our stamps that will be perfect to make yourself a clock. And I do need to go and get myself a battery, don't I? So, sorry it's a bit long-winded in the end. That was totally me, but I really wanted to just show you that when you're in your craft room doing this, it's exactly how to do it. So I hope you just fast-forwarded through that bit. Anyway, I can't wait to see the designs that you put on your clocks. Just have fun, and as I say, they'll make fabulous presents, lovely gifts for friends and family. So thank you very much for joining me. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.